Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And what's it gonna do?
It doesn't matter how you're doing. Woo! Wheeling, dealing, limousine right, jet flying.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Would you please shut the hell up?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the human rubble.
What up, what up? Welcome to another week of Keep the Kayfabe. I'm Mike, and I'm sitting here with my buddies. Let's introduce the rest of the guys. Over in Glendale, always keeping it regal, Steve Grobschmidt. How are you, Steve?
Fire me. I'm already fired. Fire me. I'm already fired. Woo! Sorry. Little Ric Flair for you. That's one of Ric Flair's greatest promos in my
Good
my
job,
opinion.
Nate.
Oh my God! Way ahead of my time, but I like it.
That'll be another episode. Greatest promos.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one for sure.
Oh, it's easy.
Let's say hi to our buddy down in Bayview, freshly squeezed, Matt Michelson.
Hello, ladies.
A little
He's an
Valvini.
idiot. That's great. I love that though.
Matt's just winning with music accompaniments.
Yeah.
I gotta make it my own, man. I gotta stick out on this podcast somehow.
Big time. Well, and we got our buddy joining us once again. Oh my God! It's Charlie Michael.
I got 3 words for you.
Suck it.
Keep the kayfabe.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's a shirt right there.
There you go.
I got 3 words for you.
You'll see that soon on the Keep the Kayfabe Instagram.
Yep.
For sure. Awesome, boys. Well, we are looking at another topic for the show this week. We were going to talk about the most underrated wrestlers that have never gotten enough shine, or announcers, managers, people that have flown under the radar that have done great stuff but never quite got enough credit for it. And I think this will be a really fun episode because we all kind of watch different promotions. We're all at kind of different generations of wrestling. So I think we're going to come up with a really fun list, and it'll be really fun to go back and watch some of these matches and check out some of these names that we're going to bring up tonight. So, yeah, I'll start off just to get the ball rolling. I was watching a little ECW, and that's why I announced Charlie with Joey Styles. I've been seeing a couple clips of Mike Awesome.
Oh yeah.
He was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, he was a shit, dude. He was good.
6'6", pulled out moves that a lot of people his size can't do. I mean, he would do a ton of power moves that, a lot of big guys could do, but then he could also do stuff that a lot of, you would see some cruiserweights doing. And
he was one of the first big men that were doing that. We're doing that here. I don't know about Japan, but I know in the States he was one of the first big guys that was doing all that stuff over the top rope and all those leaps and all that.
Did you get a chance to see him live ever, Charlie? Because I know you were a big ECW guy.
I never saw him live. Obviously he, when ECW closed, he went to WCW for a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's where I knew him, admittedly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he left. He was an ECW champion. Did you watch when he was a champion, Mike?
Yeah. I watched a couple matches of his just to kind of get brushed up with the show. Because I had never seen the reverse power bomb or Pearl River plunge before. I've never even seen that move until I just saw it going over Instagram. I was like, wow, I gotta check out this guy's matches. And I mean, the dude was like a brick house. He was tall. His body was big. I mean, he could take some punishment. He would do some hardcore matches, and then he was the ECW heavyweight champion too. Yep. So, great face for the company. I was just really impressed with all of his athleticism and just really innovative moves and just the agility that he had for a big man. So that's why I would pick him as my first most underrated wrestler.
Okay, yeah. It's a good pick.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't – it's been approved. Yeah, I will admit that I didn't, because I didn't watch ECW. a pariah in that regard. But I did see him in WCW, and I don't think they used him to his fullest potential. But it was pretty dang obvious, like for all the reasons you said. That's like, holy crap, this dude for his size can do a lot of stuff. And it was kind of in the waning days of WCW, but he made an impact. I mean, and I think was it hit? Yeah, he did he die? I'm trying to remember.
He died.
Yeah,
I can't believe I can't remember what he died of, but for suicide or probably drug overdose. I can't remember.
Really?
I think it was drug related.
Yeah, but obviously way too young.
Yeah, a lot of those guys in ECW, they partied hard. In that locker room, dude. Really hard. Yeah.
Who do you got, Matt?
I'm so glad you asked. So to keep things going, based on my entrance music, I'm going to go with Val Venus, being the WWE mark that I am.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people might disagree with this, but I think it was about 2 years ago I went back and started rewatching old episodes of Raw from the Attitude Era, and mostly just because I wanted to follow this Stone Cold Mr. McMahon storyline one more time. But I ended up watching the entire episodes of Raw, and throughout that, Val Venus would make appearances, and his promos in hindsight were so bad. They were just hilarious. And that's part of what I think added to the comedy behind his character. But when you'd watch him work in the ring, his moves were really clean. And he had a pretty extensive moveset as well. Like I can specifically remember him doing a lot of Northern Lights suplexes, because if you're familiar with that move, you sort of have to stick your pelvis up in the air, which makes total sense being it's Val Venus. But he did just a great job doing all those moves to perfection, textbook, if you go back and watch him. So as far as wrestlers go, I think he was definitely underrated. Promos and stuff, he was a good wrestler, you know.
Was he I know he's from Canada, right? Was he part of the whole was he trained by the Hart family or
that's a great question. I don't know. What I do know though is fast forward to today, he's actually pretty active in the medical marijuana industry. So he didn't.
Which is shocking.
Yeah, totally, right? From one sinful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's legit shocking, given his political leanings.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he was a good intercontinental champion, and like his entrance music was just the best. I mean, I was pretty young back then. I think in 99, 98, I was in like 7th, 8th grade. So what would I be? 14, 15? So I really
that was the sweet spot for it.
all of those sexual innuendos of like the oil barge just like exploding and like the flowers just like blooming, like, oh my God, so funny.
And his finisher, the money shot.
Yeah, all that.
Yes. If you go back,
I do remember being in middle school and putting my hands behind my head and, you know, circling my hands, kind of like Rick Rudin saying, "Hello, ladies." Thank God I didn't get suspended for that.
Yeah, that would be a great way to make an entrance to a classroom. If you're looking to relive the magic of Val Venus, all you have to do is go on YouTube and look up his entrance video. And it's even better when you do it, especially now that you're older and you get all the innuendos. I mean, my God, like, how did our parents let us watch this crap?
That was so over the top, yeah.
Yeah, did your parents at the time know that you were watching that? That's probably why, because there's no way unless they're watching it with you. There's like
every Monday night.
Yeah.
Every Monday night, my mom and I would watch it. She was as I was. So
was she laughing?
Not at that as much. I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Probably, it was so over the top cheesy that it was almost not as controversial because it wasn't.
Probably was thinking you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it anyway, so why bring it up? Yeah.
As you giggled feverishly.
Yeah.
Well, she was right. So thanks, Mom, for saving the awkwardness of that moment.
Just when Sable came on with the hands over her as her pasties over
her
nipples.
That's right.
Kind of covering your eyes, I bet, with her hands. And Matt's just like grabbing them out of the way.
Clawing.
Covering your eyes.
Do you remember when, I can't remember her name now, the bunny, Jerry Lawler, the cat?
Yeah, the cat.
Down, She went topless live on like a pay-per-view, dude.
Oh,
Dude, didn't Jerry Lawler, that was his wife, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were married for a while.
Yeah, and then they fired her, and then he quit like in protest or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was like a big thing. I think they mentioned that in the documentary or something like that.
That seemed like a marriage that was going to last forever. I was shocked it didn't last.
Yeah.
When she would wrestle, he's
Jerry's age. That's what he likes.
I remember Jerry Lawler would be like, say all these inside things about the bedroom when she'd be wrestling, like, oh, she's really good at being on top. I can tell you that much, or something like that. Like saying all these weird lines. Lawler, that's a
dirty
gold.
old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got, Steve?
We should do
you
a
got one for us?
podcast on Jerry someday.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I do have one. In fact, I'm gonna just make this all topical because he made an appearance on the 30-year Chris Jericho, and they had all the people like wishing him well.
Luther?
My first yes, Luther is my choice.
Did you know Luther was like a legit dude back in the day?
Well, and those two feuded like in the 90s.
I didn't know that.
That's why they put him in the main event. It was like a little nod to Jericho. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that this week. I was like, holy crap, I had no clue. But yeah, sorry, cut you off.
That's all right. My choice is Ultimo Dragon, if you guys remember him.
Oh,
Yep.
that's a good one.
He was just so amazing. And like, in the formative years of Nitro, he was, in the cruiserweights were kind of doing all the heavy lifting to make that show awesome. That dude was just amazing. Like the move sets he had and like, and I think he even made an appearance in WWE after, like, and then he got hurt and it didn't last real long. But stuff that you take for granted now that even the big guys can do back then wasn't as common. And he moonsaults and the
he was kind of bigger, wasn't he, for like a cruiserweight?
He was
like a little stronger.
A little stronger,
like a little more built, kind of like Penta.
Yeah, I would say that's not
status, or a
yeah,
little
that's
under.
not a bad. It's not a bad size comparison from what I, visually or mentally visually. Yeah, but that guy was awesome. And some of the best matches I can remember from that era, the Nitro, he was involved in his battles with Malenko, Guerrero,
Mysterio.
Kidman. Yeah, and he was like a staple of that cruiserweight division. He might have won another title, like US or something, but yeah, Juventud. So, and I think he's still technically active, but yeah, he's not only is he, I would say one of the more underrated, but he's like one of my like favorite wrestlers of all time.
Wow. Great pick. I like where that came from. Charlie, you got something for us, bud?
Oh yeah, my Kevin Nash, that guy could know. That guy could work his ass off.
And he never got his due.
The finger poke.
Yeah.
How many guys could beat somebody with a finger?
Yep. No, yeah. No, I was just look something up. I had one. I'll probably stick with my original one, but it was going to be, as you say in the beginning, keeping it regal. Steven Regal. If you up in WCW, he was like
totally agree.
That's a very good
master, dude. Yep.
Yep.
He was an older version of what's his name? Who's the guy that I can't remember now? He's just Kyle O'Reilly. He was like a Kyle O'Reilly in the 90s, but not as quick and all that as smooth, but just able to chain wrestle, reverse holds, do all kinds of little stuff. He was like a machine in there.
He was a purist.
And a legit tough guy.
Oh yeah, he was wrestling in his teens. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a legit kick your ass type of guy.
Yeah, that's a great pick because, as I stated up top, like, who never got enough shine. Like, this is a guy who's literally dedicated his life to wrestling, made NXT, so instrumental as it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Triple H deserves credit for NXT's success, but Regal, man, he, none of us work there, but like just from what you can see, he is as much a reason as any on the level of quality that NXT has had.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see a lot of Steven Regal. I saw William Regal when he first came to WWE, and I don't know. I just feel like his character was generic jobber number 5. But if you go back to look at, it's WWE.
Go back.
Yeah.
Go back.
So that's what I was actually going to ask you guys, because clearly you've seen more of his work. So if I go back, like which Steven Regal matches should I watch?
Okay, so I mean, he had some good matches with Sting. I think either over the TV. So he won the TV. He kind of made the TV title famous in WCW, and some of the matches around that. Like I feel like he wrestled Steamboat in a good one. He wrestled Sting in a feud that was really quite good. If you want to, I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but if you guys want to see something that's just to be a sight to behold, watch his match with Goldberg.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like, because they were feeding everybody to Goldberg, and he was crushing them, but he was super limited. Yep. And nobody quite knows the story. Regal sticks to his, the leadership sticks to theirs, but critics think that Regal was purposely trying to make Goldberg look bad, but Regal was saying, I was just trying to work a match with this guy, and like watch it because he is stiff as shit, and he's like he's like literally wrestling Goldberg and befuddling him when I don't think he was supposed to, and it's actually amazing to watch because Goldberg's getting like flustered, and it
was probably looking like
it makes him look silly. It's good.
Yeah, it probably was looking like Mongo McMichael.
Not that bad, but in that path, yes.
So at some point, Goldberg wasn't sure what to do, wrestling wise, because he wasn't experienced enough,
And Mike, I wish you hadn't brought that up because you just stole Charlie's next underrated, Steve Mongo McMichael.
No, one that was a good. There's another one I was going to bring up. That was a great worker. It's truly underrated. The 1-2-3 Kid.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that was on my list too.
Yep.
When he first came in, too. I was obsessed.
Yep. He was insanely good. He's a great wrestler.
That match with Razor Ramon that put him on the map. Holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't he like fall on his head?
He actually wrestled the last part of the match out.
Yeah, like blacked out.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with the 1-2-3 Kid. He had a good look, and that's when that was in '95. When they used the ring, like the lights were like beaming down on the ring.
Yeah,
and
like
it was like
all
1, 2, 3, and they would use the ring for the big entrance for the hard cam, when Psycho Sid was something, and Shawn Michaels doing the HBK. I love the 1-2-3 Kid's intro too, but yeah, you're right. He was a great worker, and he brought out some great moves that when I was young, stuff I had never seen before.
So
and I think he was kind of the measuring stick for a lot of people too. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to ask, so for some of our listeners who maybe aren't as familiar with the 1-2-3 Kid, that's the same guy that later on became X-Pac, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
X-Pac.
Six-Pac.
X-Pac. Yeah. Yep.
They called him Sixx in WCW, cleverly adding 1, 2, and 3 together.
Yep. I thought that was great. Six-Pac,
I believe it had 2 X's as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pioneer.
You want to Google when you want to see something pretty funny. Take your time. Google him with his shaved eyebrows. You guys heard that whole story? He got all partied up when they were going to do pictures, and they shaved, with Nash and all. Well, was Nash there? With all those guys when they were going to click. Yeah, and they shaved his eyebrows, and so there's all these pictures of him with his eyebrows missing.
Nice.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, the Click would have been just dangerous to roll with on the road. Though Scott Hall, Michaels, Triple H, and Nash.
Speaking of Hall, you see the news on him this week?
No. I did see that he was on a virtual meet and greet, and he seemed very inebriated or something, which is really sad. That dude he was doing so well, I think, and
all the time DDP put into him.
Yeah.
Shit, that's sad to hear. Anyway, Matt, do you got another one for us, buddy?
On the more better topics. Anyway, crackhead.
I think I do. So I'm going to jump a little more into the modern era with this one, but back in, I want to say it was 2016, a coworker of mine at that time showed me this match from New Japan. between Will Ospreay and my pick, Ricochet.
Great pick.
Which, if you have seen Ricochet outside of WWE, you already know he's not underrated by any means. He is the real deal. But if you are just kind of a casual viewer, if you're getting more into WWE as of late, you might have seen Ricochet on TV and gone, wow, he can do some cool flips. No, this guy, in my opinion, is probably one of the best, if not the best wrestler in the world. And Charlie just keeps shaking his head. I know he's just waiting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it's a great call, yeah. That match is incredible. I think it was 6-star, maybe, by Meltzer. I mean, not that his star ratings matter, but that match was excellent. Google his, Ricochet and PWG. You'll see some great matches in there.
I mean, Lucha Underground as Prince Puma.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
all
right.
that stuff. Yep. I'm so glad. Hopefully he's the one that's leaving. I can't wait till he gets out
It's
of there.
criminal how he's been used.
He's on right now, wrestling Cedric Alexander again.
Another. He's not on my list, but another underrated guy.
I thought,
yeah,
Charlie, I just thought my YouTube algorithm kept pushing the same match to me, but it's good to know that it's a different match every week. It's just the same people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, Ricochet's insane. I mean, this is, and I tell you who. I mean, you guys, if you ever get a chance to watch, I haven't seen it lately. I know they're hyping up the new G1 tournament, but Will Ospreay is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
he's next level. They love the Switchblade over there, Jay White.
Yes.
But Ospreay's gonna be. To me, he's a next level star, and he's put the weight on, so now he's becoming more of a heavyweight than a junior heavyweight, and that dude he's insane.
Yeah,
it sounds like he's billed as like the best in the world right now amongst like a lot of wrestling circles, even surpassing Kenny Omega.
Before COVID, if you'd asked me who the best wrestler in the world was, it was him. The stuff he was putting out was phenomenal, dude. It was phenomenal. It was Kenny's level, but better. That's why I wish Kenny could do his stuff. Hopefully he gets his stuff going in AEW because he's fantastic too, man. Stuff I saw him in New Japan. He's probably at 75% of what he can of the show he can put on.
Kind of like Nakamura. American audiences have not seen what he's capable of.
Go watch Nakamura's look this stuff when he was intercontinental champion over New Japan. It's awesome, dude. He was wrestling AJ over there and all the guys in Evo. It's just it's a shame. It's a shame.
So based on everything Charlie just said, I had mentioned Ricochet for my pick. I'm going to slightly tweak that and just say every New Japan wrestler ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's what kind of stinks right now because I think we're not getting unless you're paying for the New Japan World, you're not getting the American announcers on it. Unless you just like wrestling to watch it, you're getting the Japanese, but it's when you're
getting half the story.
Yeah, you're not getting the story and everything. You're seeing killer moves. Those guys are practically trying to kill each other, and it's just legit. That's what I love about it. It's like the Daredevil, the hard hitting.
They try to kill you in the safest way possible. It seems like.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of how AEW is too. Not the hardcore, but just the factor of most of the time you don't know who's gonna win. You can go okay. Like tonight, I'm watching Ricochet versus Cedric. I don't know how it ended, but unless it was a DQ, I'm sure Ricochet did the job.
Big time. That was a great pick, Matt. Charlie.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great pick, Matt.
What do you think, Steve? Do you got something else for us, bud?
Oh, I got 17 more. No, I'm kidding.
How about everybody? How about we all do a modern? Like you just give us a modern era. Why don't you give?
Well, crap. Sure. Then that means I have to.
Do whatever. You want to do.
Actually,
do whatever you want to do.
Actually, no. Okay, I'm gonna throw a quick modern or somebody that I like. If we would have done this 4 months ago, would have been like top of my list of modern. But now I think is finally getting his due. Brody Lee. I think he was completely misused by WWE. But I feel like AEW is properly using him now. So he's like moved out of underrated to like he's getting his due. The former Luke Harper for those WWEs. But no, I'll throw an old school one because that's like my whole damn list, unfortunately. But Rick Martel, we just talked about him the other week, the model. I think
I did go back and listen to that podcast that you recommended, and it was very cool.
Good one? Yeah, yeah. Pritchard's got a good podcast. Yeah, I mean, he got his due before, outside of WWE. Like he was the AWA champion and stuff. I mean, but in WWE, he filled a role, as the model and then as a tag team champion with Tito, right? Yeah, Strike Force. But I mean, that dude was like really, really good, and he had the look, and he certainly had the physique and everything. He kind of had everything. Yep. He just never really got above mid card, and
you know why that is, Vince.
Yeah, of course. But then then he kind of stepped away from wrestling and came back in WCW and started a really promising comeback until he got a career-ending injury, wrestling Booker T. But his story could have kept going, but then he got injured, and it was something gruesome. I forget what it was, something with his leg, but he was kind of heating back up in WCW. But always another one of my favorites, Rick Martel.
Yep,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, if I had to go modern real quick, you know how I feel about Wardlow. I haven't seen him on primetime, but I'm sure he's going to be there. He's going to be in future conversations. He might not be there just yet. Dude,
green.
I love the guy. He's
greener than the Incredible Hulk, but
greener than baby shit, I guess.
Greener than grass.
He'll get there. But
greener than grass on the other side.
One person that I did have on my list, though, too, was she is in the Hall of Fame, but I thought Jacqueline was a pretty good wrestler. And doesn't get enough credit for actual wrestling ability. Smaller in stature, not too tall, probably like 5'4".
Yeah, she was a machine.
Maybe freaking stacked,
she was so strong and tough as shit. I was about to say,
tough lady, legit tough lady,
big time. And she would wrestle. I mean, she could probably kick the shit out of the guys.
She did in WCW.
Yeah. If she would have gotten the chance, I'm sure she was way tougher than a lot of the guys backstage. And even those women's matches in the era of bra and panties matches, when that was on, she demanded respect when she was in the ring. And, being an African-American woman in that time, I mean, she really doesn't get enough credit. She probably had to deal with so much shit that we have no idea about. And maybe we'll never know. But I'm sure she's got an awesome story. I'm glad they inducted her, what was it, like 2 years ago in the Hall of Fame?
2 or 3. That was, well-deserved. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was well-deserved also. But, that's a woman that doesn't get enough shine for sure.
That's a great pick. Yeah, I think not only is that, she won the title if I remember right. She's in the Hall of Fame, so in that regard, she got her due. But I feel in that era, she was like way ahead of her time. Like women's wrestling is so much better now, and she would fit in perfectly right now. Back then, it was still more of a novelty with like.
Oh God, can you imagine her against like
as the exceptions? And
can you imagine her like her and Asuka right now, or just some of these other chicks
just
that can
beat
go
the crap out of each other?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Insane.
And Steve, you make a really good point that she would fit in the modern era. I remember watching Jacqueline back in the late 90s when I was kind of first getting into the Attitude Era. And I knew she was special, like watching her. Like she would come out and I would get all excited, like, hey, Jacqueline's on. It just was really sad at the time because a lot of the women in wrestling weren't really wrestlers, right? But you could tell right away that she was. So the matches just never really clicked. But you could tell there was something there. Unfortunately, because of the times, that they were, she never got a chance to really show that off, kind of like how she might in the modern era. So, yeah, great pick.
I just thought of something funny. I was looking behind Mike on his wall there, and I was just doing some research. I was like, I had my list in mind, but then I was looking online to see like, did I forget any obvious ones? And somebody had a most underrated list and listed a Hulk Hogan as one of them.
Oh wow!
And then the first sentence was like, "Now hear me out on this," and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to hear you out." I
Oh my
went to
God.
a different article.
I mean, if you have action figures distributed all around the world and everybody knows like your face, and like when you say wrestling to someone who doesn't even speak English and you say Hulk Hogan, they do his moves.
No,
I think you're on the map.
Super reaching, like trying to make some provocative point for link bait.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's funny. Who else has got one for us?
I got one. I just saw it. It came up on the screen, actually. I would say Carmella.
I love it. Like, to be clear, a second you got me on that one. I'm like, are you serious?
She's horrible.
Clear, Charlie's playing that game where it's like, "What's your name?" and he's trying to lie, and he's looking around the room and just naming things he sees. Like,
No, that's what Charlie already.
She did actually come on because it's like she got drafted to SmackDown.
Oh, which she already was on. Exciting.
Exactly.
So yeah, Charlie's ruined my joke because I was with your Kevin Nash and Carmella on that.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna lead off by saying Hunter Hearst Helmsley was my.
He never got a chance. But here's
Connecticut Blue Blood.
Here's a legit one for my in the modern. This is really modern era. Not modern because he hasn't been on the main roster. He was formerly known as Mr. ROH, Mr. Ring of Honor, Roderick Strong.
Oh yeah, good one.
That is a good
Roddy is a bad dude. I remember it was like probably. I remember when I realized he was really good as I saw him live at a Ring of Honor show, and the guy was just incredible, dude. And then what put it over the top, I think it was that where at? Was that at the Ring of Honor show with you, Steve? When
I've never been to a Ring of Honor show.
Not Ring of Honor, I mean
NXT.
NXT. He wrestled. He was the opening bout with someone.
Velveteen
we
Dream.
talked about it.
Yeah,
we talked about it recently.
It was
incredible
match. For me, that was the match of the night. That match was so good. They tore it down. I was like, wow,
yeah, he
that guy.
quietly. I don't know if it's his personality as like even as a heel, he's a little more subdued personality.
Yeah, he's just not
that dude in the ring
guy.
is really hard to beat. Yeah, I mean,
he's
one of the best.
Yeah, he's insane in the ring, dude.
I saw him at a Ring of Honor show where he was the television champion. I think it was 2015 here in Milwaukee. And he was sort of standing in the back of Turner Hall where the show was at. And, you could get a picture taken with him or whatever.
That's
but
why I love that.
He didn't really talk at all. But when he got in the ring, it was just like what you saw in NXT and what you see today in NXT. Just an amazing worker.
Yeah. That's one thing too, off topic. That's why I love Ring of Honor shows, dude. You can go out to the parking lot, stand by the door, they're coming out, and get pictures with all those dudes. If you're a mark, dude, it's great because those dudes are cool, man. Like I met the Briscoes, got pictures with the Briscoes. They're just so cool, dude. It's just
Charlie, you should text me any good pictures, and we can put it up on the Keep the Kayfabe Instagram.
All right, yeah, cool. I got some on my Facebook I put up there. Then I got some on my phone. I'll send them over to you. Yeah. Yep.
I'll have the intern post them for us. We put a lot of responsibility on our interns.
So much.
Thank you to them. And please follow us on Instagram on Keep the Kayfabe. Great pick with Roddy Strong. Definitely agree with that. One that I have on the list and another Hall of Famer, but Kurt Angle, again, not being, classically trained as a professional wrestler, but an actual wrestler and a gold medalist. Everybody keeps on saying just how quick Kurt Angle took to wrestling and got the business. Everybody mentions his, there's wrestling, but then there's the business. And you hear that all the time. It sounds like Kurt Angle took to it like a fish to water and became, you see the WWF always trying to cross get somebody that's in mixed martial arts or wrestling or a celebrity
name,
and they try it, like we mentioned earlier, Mongo McMichael, former football player, probably the worst ever of all time. They throw Mike Tyson in there. They throw all these athletes, actors, Kurt Angle. They're probably like, let's see if it sticks. This guy, when he was thrown against the wall like spaghetti, he fucking stuck. I mean, he was doing moves that were very outside of his skill set for the amount of training that he had, and executed them really well. I think he shot up to the champ within kind of months. It wasn't like a Ronda Rousey thing where they this is what's going to help the women's division. Kurt Angle was already going in there with a lot of stars. I mean, this was chocked full of, The Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, Mankind, all these guys that are, all Hall of Famers in their own right. And Kurt Angle made his mark and had legendary matches.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I remember watching Kurt Angle growing up, and he just kind of fit right in with everybody else in terms of, in-ring work. At the time, though, being younger and not really knowing much about the business behind the curtain, I didn't really know any better and didn't know Kurt Angle was, I didn't understand how significant it was, how quickly he took to professional wrestling. And I didn't even know that because, in the late 90s, how do you find those types of things out? So, watching his matches, obviously you could tell he was really good in the ring. But when you step back and think about the fact that, he had 6 months of training, maybe-ish, before actually being on WWE television and just shooting right up to main event status. Yeah, it really says a lot about him. Definitely an underrated talent.
Well, and they kind of tried it with Ken Shamrock a little bit. Kurt Angle was a, gold medalist, so his name was renowned in a certain circle. Ken Shamrock was supposed to be the most dangerous man, in the octagon in UFC fighting, but it didn't really translate to wrestling. So it's kind of weird that the WWF, I don't know how much they invested in the Kurt Angle, but I mean, he earned his keep there pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Who else has got one? Anybody?
Remember Dan Severn? Yeah. Speaking on that term too. Speaking how good Angle got over. I forgot. Dan. Remember Dan Severn was in the WWE?
Yeah, the Beast.
Yeah. He couldn't. He didn't get over as much, and he was probably a better. Better MMA fighter than Angle. Angle never fought MMA. He was just a good collegiate wrestler, or obviously Olympia champion. But Dan Severn, Ken Shamrock, they couldn't get those guys over. The only one that was a legit MMA fighter that was on that level of Angle, we forget it because he was a college wrestler. Then he went to WWE. Then he went to UFC. Is Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's the only one that was a little bit more successful, but yeah, they got it. Angle got it because he can cut the promo. Lesnar really can't cut it. He can cut his own promo, but not consistently good enough.
Shelton Benjamin, by the way, is another guy that should make this list.
Oh yeah. He probably should. Yeah, underrated and could really. They say that Shelton is
still going.
He's the only guy that could have beat it. I don't know about today, but he's the only guy that could beat Brock. Legitimately beat Brock.
Yeah.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Charlie, you're making me have flashbacks to the late 90s with all these other UFC MMA talents. You made me think of Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman.
I was about to say it.
Man. Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to steal your shine.
Yep.
No, you're fine. No, I was going to say, does Steven Blackman make the list with those sticks? And he would do all those lethal weapon. What did they say? His legs are lethal weapons?
I forget what they were. I think they were either fighting sticks or they were sort of like miniature kendo sticks that he would come out with and do sort of I don't want to call it a dance, but like a kata at the top of the ramp. And then he would just walk down, never smiled, never blinked, never made a face.
Yep.
But I do remember in a lot of his matches, he would pull out a pair of nunchucks and just start swinging at the other guy. So I don't know that he was best professional wrestler, but man, he was over in the mid card with the fans. And I think it was just because he had something that made him different.
Well, plus he was responsible for Shane McMahon's, one of the biggest bumps that Shane McMahon did in the early days when he, took a step off of the scaffolding and went like 30 feet down into some tables. Steven Blackman is the one that climbed the top, the scaffolding with him and hit him with those sticks.
They make him
and
go
goes
off.
falling. Yeah, yeah.
At the
Nice.
time, I could not believe that. That was just mind blowing to me how far down that fall was.
The Jumbo or the Titantron.
The Titantron.
Titantron.
Yep. Hawk fell off the Titantron. Rest in peace, Hawk.
Was that the drunken thing they did with him?
Yep.
Yes.
Story.
I've got one more I'll throw out there. There's a little bit of recency bias behind this one. And again, me being a WWE mark, this will probably not come as any shock, but Dominic Mysterio has been kind of impressing me lately. So I didn't really know what to think of him. His first match was against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. I just heard an interview with Dominic on the Chris Van Vliet show, and it turns out that match at SummerSlam was Dominic Mysterio's first professional wrestling match ever outside of practice matches and training, at like the Performance Center or whatever it might be. First televised pro wrestling match ever. And if you have seen the match, it definitely stood out on the card as being one of the better matches of the night. But to think that was someone's first ever wrestling match is pretty incredible. So I mean, we haven't seen a ton yet from Dominic Mysterio, but just given that fact, I think he's definitely underrated. Pretty excited to see where they go with him.
He's getting a lot of hate though because he hasn't gone through the NXT training with the Performance Center and paid a lot of dues. A lot of people say, it's only because of his father, and his father got him this deal, kind of like the paternal instep being on the main roster, and he gets hot-shotted up. He's, like The Rock's niece, or is it The Rock's daughter that's kind of in NXT right now, and she's paying her dues. Yeah. And her dad's got, 200 million people on Instagram, and Dominic hasn't really gotten up the ranks yet.
Yeah. Although Dominic has acquitted himself well, I don't know. He can go both ways on that. I mean, should he have gone through the paces like everyone else? Maybe, but he certainly has made the most of his jump to the main roster.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, totally. I can see.
What do you think, Charlie?
Ways,
I mean, The Rock's daughter, I don't think she's hurt now. She's getting a knee thing, but it's WWE crap. So I mean,
there's your hot take.
Not to be a dick, but it's just WWE crap. So I mean, I'm sure he's trained, but he's going to be a WWE homegrown. He'll be okay in the ring. He's not going to be anything. He's good, but maybe it's just my prejudice. He's good, but I don't think he's going to be like a superstar unless he like goes out, works the indies, learns how to work an indie crowd, how to get over not in the WWF style of wrestling. That's
You're saying it's going to be hard to get out of his father's shadow.
Well, get out of his father's shadow, but he's been trained by WWE, so he's going to wrestle a WWE style. Like, if you watch Ricochet style in the WWE ring compared to now, you go out and watch anything outside of WWF, you'll be like, holy shit. Where Dominic, I don't think, can go outside of there and do holy shit stuff yet. He has to go out and do it, Like we saw Ray when we saw Ray at All Out, there was stuff he was doing that he didn't do at WWE. True. So I just think for him to get over and learn how to work a live crowd that's not a WWE style match.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but he's good, smooth. I seen him do some cool things, some smooth things. But to me, he's just another generic WWE homegrown wrestler. Not to be like that. He's just and right now they're doing so many guys with Mexican gimmicks. They're all doing the Mexican gimmick. He's just another WWE Mexican guy. I mean, not to break it down like that, but that's
what we do here.
What's special about him? He's great besides his dad. No,
that's kind of what WWE does.
Yeah. I mean, that's that.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, Matt? I
He's
agree with
good though.
Charlie.
Don't get me wrong. He's good for where he's at in first match, but if you go, oh man, Dominic's on this card, I gotta go see him. We're like, yep, let me know how it is. I'm not spending money for it. That's how the old guys used to draw. Would you leave your house, spend money to go see a guy? For Dominic, nah. Even if he was working the main event of a pay-per-view, would I rush home to make sure I see it? Nah. That's
Well,
just me.
So, Charlie, since you did such a fantastic job burying my pick, I've got another one. So this one's also pretty recent, and I'm gonna shift gears. I'm gonna move out of WWE for a minute. We're gonna talk about AEW. So, Angelico is one guy in AEW that I haven't really seen a lot of on Dynamite. Prior to AEW, I actually saw him quite a bit in Lucha Underground, and I'll never forget. There's a spot if you've watch Lucha Underground, it's very different feeling from any other promotion. So in season 1 of Lucha Underground, I want to say it's the season finale, they have what they call the Trios Championship. So instead of, general tag teams like what you see in most promotions, they actually have 3 members to each team. And in the season 1 finale of Lucha Underground, Angelico does a spot where he dives. I don't know where he is exactly. It's almost like an elevated area above the crowd, dives off of that over part of the crowd into the ring and cross bodies 2 guys. It has to be at least a 20-foot drop.
Yeah.
Seriously, one of the biggest bumps I think I've seen in terms of elevation, where it's actually intended to, create offense and not like a Shane McMahon. Hey, I'm going to fall off this 40-foot ledge because I can't.
Exactly. It's a stunt man move.
Yeah. So AEW again, and Angelico, I don't know that he's done quite a bit. If he has and you guys have seen it, tell me. But in Lucha Underground, man, he was fantastic. I was really excited to see him roll up in AEW when I heard about that.
Yeah, he just made a rare appearance on the main roster last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say
back the last couple of weeks, or was it last week?
Last week they wrestled the champs, right? It was the Hybrid 2 is the team he's in.
Yeah,
wrestled, Revival
solo too. Yeah. So I think the COVID stuff kind of hurt them because they were getting a little bit of a play, and then the COVID kind of shut them down.
That team was on the first Double or Nothing.
Yep.
And I remember that was. I think they were on the buy-in. It was like the first match of the night, and I remember seeing them, and I just thought they were freaking funny. He came out and he was dancing like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so funny. Yeah, I like the hair. I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna like AEW because this is just so funny. Just like they get to do whatever they want. And then when I saw him wrestle, like the moves that they had.
Good. Yep.
Who's Angelico's partner's name? What's his
name? I
name?
can't think of it right now.
Jack Evans.
There
you go.
Call.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're a good team. They're a good team.
They are a good team.
Really,
I'm
excited
mostly a
to see
dark team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm into it. That's a nice little
pick.
Their
comeback. Maybe they're building them up. Maybe with like the COVID stuff, they weren't willing to pay for them to travel, so now they're maybe willing to pay for them to travel in or whatever it is. Speaking of, that the ref Aubrey, she flies in from like Seattle every week.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
If you follow her on Instagram, like wow, I can't believe she flies in every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Britt Baker does the same from Pittsburgh when
That's
she
where
was.
She comes from? Okay.
Yeah, because she's got her dental
practice there.
office over there.
Yeah, that's Steve's girl.
Steve's girl. Yeah.
I actually think so. My wife is from Pittsburgh, and we go visit her family. I haven't been to the dentist in I don't even know how long. We just got dental insurance now, so I want to get into it.
You're gonna go
you should roll it out there, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go.
So I assume at this point, she's a notable enough person. Is her business off the charts right now? People just
got it. I bet it is.
Especially dudes like the guy we saw at All Out at Starcast that are
people go in there
slather,
people just go in there just to say hi, and I'm gonna be that guy, but I'm gonna have wretched teeth.
Yep.
And she's gonna fix them for me, and I'm gonna say, I want to take my dental seriously, and that's why I'm here, Britt.
I can just see Mike going up to his HR people, I have a question. Does this dental insurance cover flights as well?
I'll write it off.
I'm just gonna be your patient. Just ask a bunch of questions about Adam Cole.
Seriously.
Baby.
Yep.
Oh my God, Charlie, I was actually thinking about today because it was like almost a year ago until we saw War Games at Allstate Arena.
Yep.
And remember we were sitting next to those Undisputed Era
that
marks?
one guy was
That was the funniest thing. So
that guy
okay,
was so hyped when he came.
Okay, so we're at so we're at War Games. The last match of the night is the men's War Games where they have the 2 rings and they bring down the cage, and it was, a bunch of guys versus the Undisputed Era. And these dudes, so it was
they had the t-shirt, they had the Undisputed t-shirts on too.
So they're sitting next to Kristen the whole night, and we're like cramped in there. And they stole one of our seats because we had 4 tickets, but we were like, there should have been an empty seat there. And it's like, oh, great, we could put our coats there. No, somebody stole our seat, and we came late, so we didn't want to be like dicks.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Anyway, so they're just kind of like, haha, yeah, cool. Like all the matches, the whole night. As soon as Undisputed Era's music hit,
You ever see that gif with that little kid, that little black kid? He's going like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly how they were, dude.
Oh my God.
I was freaking out because I was like, oh my God, these guys are so quiet, and all of a sudden they come out.
Oh, and they were doing like the
hands
across the chest with the U and the E, and when the boom hit, they're like, like so pumped, so hyped.
They bought the tickets just for Undisputed Era. That's crazy.
Literally.
And I feel like Undisputed Era lost that match too. Were they devastated?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because what's his face?
Cole went through
Ciampa.
the table.
Ciampa, Ciampa.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest
hyped,
bumps
dude.
I've ever seen.
I couldn't believe these guys. They were so quiet. All of a sudden, they come like, yeah.
Wait, was that the
crazy.
same match where Kevin Owens made a special guest appearance?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah, he's pretty underrated. Kevin Owens.
Oh my
God.
God. Absolutely.
I wouldn't say underrated. I'd say more like underused.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a former Universal Champion.
Yeah. I thought about him before the show, but I was like, he's kind of recognizable. But yeah, you're right, Charlie. Like underused. But when he started doing his moves for a big guy, he's doing moves I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I just love innovation
For that
when
guy,
it comes to wrestling.
for a guy with that body type, it's like, holy shit.
Right.
Because I first saw him in Ring of Honor, I'm like, who's this dude? He doesn't really look good. And I saw him.
Yeah, I didn't
oh
like
my
him.
Freaking God.
I didn't like him when I first saw him in Ring of Honor. I was like, what the hell
when he
is this
had-
dude's deal?
Yeah.
But then you totally get it. Yeah.
The boxing shorts and then like the cutoff shirt. He kind of looked like a backyard wrestler of a guy who wanted to make it.
That was his look in the beginning, and they kind of just cleaned it up and made it prettier in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Nice. Awesome, boys. Well, if anybody has anything else to add, I think this was a pretty fun episode.
It is indeed.
Awesome. Well, we covered a lot of ground here like I knew we would. We talked New Japan. We brought up Lucha Underground, ECW, WCW, Ring of Honor, NXT, WWE, and that's the kind of talk you're going to get at Keep the Kayfabe. So please remember to follow us on Spotify, follow us on Instagram, and check out all the cool stuff our interns post for us. And you can catch us here next week for another great show. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you later.
Peace.